What's going on, guys? John Cochran, the king of systems here, and what I want to do is I want to show you guys very quickly how we go out there and find ultra motivated sellers that these guys have to sell. They need to sell. They got to sell very quickly. There's a strategic approach that we go out there and we do this with, and it's been one of my secret weapons for quite some time, since 2016 to be exact. It's been one of my secret weapons for finding, very discounted real estate, sellers that need to sell, not sellers that want to sell. And there's a difference in the two, and I'm actually going to train you in very deep detail, at the end of this. Now, here's the thing. These are called combo motivated sellers. These are the sellers that they have a combination of motivations. They have a combination of reasons to go out there and sell. So many, investors, what they'll do is, they'll buy a list. Let's say they're doing direct mail. Well, they'll go out there and they'll buy a list, and they'll buy a list of all absentee owners, another investor that owns a piece of real estate, but they don't live in it. But that doesn't mean that they're motivated at all. That does not mean that they're motivated. Just because they're an absentee owner does not mean that they're motivated. But if they're an absentee owner that has a vacant property and they're also behind on their property tax, that's 3 levels of motivation. That person is going to be very motivated to go out there and sell that property at a discount. I'm going to teach this in detail this weekend on a live webinar at combocall.com. So if somebody would, go into the chat and put combocall.com, COMBOCALL.com, and I'm going to teach it in very deep detail on how we target these people that have multiple levels of motivation. So when you're a real estate investor, you need to go out there and find sellers that need to sell. Right? Not sellers that want to sell, sellers that need to sell their property. So what I want to do is I want to give you 13 different ways, 13 different reasons that a seller would need to go out there and sell their property. The first one would be, like deceased, like somebody has just passed away, probate, or they just inherited the property, okay? That would be a reason that somebody would have to sell. They would need to go out there and sell. If there was a death in the family and it had something to do with probate and it had something to do with, like maybe they inherited a property, that would be a seller that needs to sell. Again, I'm going to show you how to combo these up, this weekend at combocall.com. The second thing, which is one of my favorites of sellers that need to sell, is somebody that's behind on the property tax. Not a seller that, is going to the tax sale, but somebody that is behind on their property tax. They're just delinquent a couple years on their property tax. Those sellers, they need to sell their property, because if not, guess what? That property is going to get taken from them. I love tax delinquent as well for this as well, because that mortgage company would be paying for those taxes if there was a mortgage involved. So 99% of people that are behind on their property tax, they do not even have a mortgage on them at all, okay? The third reason that somebody would be very motivated, they would need to go out there and sell, is if they've just went through a divorce, okay? One person doesn't want the other person to get anything, so they just went through a divorce. The fourth one, somebody that would need to go out there and sell, is if they're just going through an illness. Maybe they're going to a nursing home, or maybe you don't know what it could be. But if somebody's going through an illness, that is a need to sell situation. The other one is if somebody owns a property out of state. Now, just because somebody owns a property out of state does not mean that they're motivated. However, if they own a property out of state and they're going through a divorce and they're behind on their property tax, that is a very motivated seller. They're going to go out there and need to sell. And again, that's what I'm going to show you how to do this weekend. So if somebody owns a property out of state, that is the fifth one. That is the fifth one of somebody that would need to go out there and sell. The other one, the sixth one, is if somebody actually is behind on their mortgage payments. Like they haven't been making their mortgage payments, they're behind on it. Maybe they got a foreclosure filing. That would be somebody that needs to go out there and sell their property. Another one is if a property, or if you find an owner, you find a seller, and they own a property that is free and clear. That would be somebody that needs to sell. However, see, this is where investors go wrong. They'll go out there and they'll buy a property, or they'll buy a list of all of these different, sellers, people that own free and clear properties, and then they'll go out there and send out 10,000 mailers. They'll send out these 10,000 mailers, and they'll just say, they're working like on the 2% rule. They're only trying to get, 2% of the people to go out there and actually do deals with them. So they'll send out 10,000 pieces of mail or whatever, and look at what that just cost you. 50 cents a mailer, send out 10,000 mailers. How much does that cost? It's very, very expensive. So what we do is we target those guys. Just because they're free and clear does not mean they're motivated, but if they're free and clear and they're behind on their property tax, and they're going through a divorce, and they're going to have an illness, that's 4 levels of motivation. That person would be very, very motivated to sell their property. The 8th way somebody would need to go out there and sell their property is if they've just lost their job. They would need to sell. The 9th way is if somebody has just been relocated. Their job is taking them to another place. They've just been relocated. The 10th way is if somebody went out there and they filed bankruptcy. That would be somebody that needs to sell their property. The 11th way is if somebody's got a vacant house. That would be somebody that would potentially be a motivated seller that needs to sell their property. The 11th way, actually that was the 11th way, is the vacant house. The 12th way is if you got a landlord, an absentee owner, but that landlord has just done an eviction. That would be somebody that would possibly need to sell their property. And then the 13th way is maybe a property that is fire damaged. Now again, here's the power of this whole thing. Here's the power of this. I just gave you 13 different ways, 13 different reasons that somebody would need to go out there and sell their property. Not want to sell, need to sell. Okay? Now you can buy a list for all 13 of those. The power comes with this, is when you go out there and you buy like 5 or 6 lists, okay? You buy like 5 or 6 different lists of those 13 that I just gave you. We put ours into our software. I'm going to show you how we do this. We put all those lists into a software, and then it spits out one master list that tells you everybody that has a combination. They have more than one level of motivation. And then the power of dealing with sellers and the people that we need to go out there and help as real estate investors, the ones that are ultra motivated, are the ones that have 2, 3, 4 levels of motivation. That is what we need to go out there and target. So you take all those lists, and then what you do is you go out there and you see the ones that have multiple levels of motivation. Because, comment below. Comment below. Do you think that a seller that is behind on their property tax, they have a vacant property, and they're going through a divorce, do you think that that would be a motivated seller, yes or no? Well, of course they are. Of course they're going to be. But if you just have an absentee owner, that does not mean that they're motivated. So this weekend, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we very strategically, how we go out there and target sellers, very strategically, how to go out there and find sellers that have multiple levels of motivation, multiple reasons that they need to go out there and sell, because those are the sellers that are motivated right now into this market when everybody's going out there and demanding retail. They're wanting retail in this hot real estate market. Those are the ones that we need to go out there and go to. So if you guys could actually put into the comments, if somebody would, put into the comment, combocall.com. That's where I'm going to be teaching this in detail this weekend to show you how to do this. What do we do with people that have 2 levels of motivation? How do we market to those people? Once we know who they are, what do we do with them? How do we market to people that have 3 levels of motivation? How do we market to people that have 4 levels of motivation? Because you do different things on different tiers of motivation. That's how you go out there and do deals. Less leads is more. I don't want you guys to go out there and be working on, or go out there and send out 10,000 pieces of direct mail, or even 1,000 pieces of direct mail. Why don't we go out there and focus on sending out 10 pieces of direct mail to the right 10 people that have multiple levels of motivation, doing the right strategies with them? And then why don't we go out there and target those people, help those people send out 10 pieces of direct mail and absolutely do 4 or 5 deals out of it. Go to combocall.com and I will show you exactly how I do it this weekend. It is very, very, very powerful. You'll kick yourself if you don't join this one. I'll see you guys this weekend. See you guys.